Good evening, good afternoon, good morning, good time of day. Welcome to this episode of the Geek Syndicate network of podcasts. You're joining me, Ant. Look at that. Remember to introduce myself. Getting pro. Here to talk about season 2, episode 1 of the Star Trek series Picard, which in the UK is streaming on the old Amazon Prime. It's been, I don't think, certainly I've not done a Star Trek review before. So this will be an interesting one for me. Obviously, I quite like Star Trek, but I'm here talking to the seasoned professional that is.
Well, you couldn't get the seasoned professional, so you're gonna have to put up with me. So,
evening, everyone. I thought I'd book Dave.
Yeah, nice one.
He's seasoned. He's got plenty of spice.
Yeah. Dave couldn't come to the phone, so you're gonna have to put up with me. This is Barry, aka Deej. Yeah, so you haven't reviewed any Star Trek stuff, have you?
I don't even think I've done any like text reviews of Star Trek either, which is weird because it's one of those things that I always enjoy when I'm like partaking of it, if you know what I mean. But I've never really, done any sort of critical analysis of it at any point. So yeah,
should be interesting then. So I think before we sort of dive into this first episode, I mean, I take it you did watch season 1.
I did watch season 1, although I must admit I was thinking of rewatching it before this because there's a lot I don't remember, which actually I think will come up as we're reviewing a bit. But yeah, no, I enjoyed season 1. I thought it was very, the kind of like the overall kind of story stuff. This thing is that kind of thing we've seen before, the Battlestar and the Mass Effect and stuff and all that kind of thing. But I thought it was done really well. It was a really good continuation of Captain Picard's story. And yeah, it quickly became like the show I was waiting to watch every week.
Yeah, and I think as well, I mean, I really enjoyed it. I think one of the things I quite liked about it, which is weird nowadays, is we went through this phase of like, and we still get loads of shows which are just dropped and they dropped the entire season and you sort of binge through it. But I'm starting to sort of lean back towards quite enjoying shows where I'm having to watch them weekly.
Yeah, depending on the show, I agree with that.
Yeah.
There are some shows I do want to binge. I don't know if it's almost like kind of feeding into that nostalgia bit of this you watch Star Trek every week sort of thing, like, But yeah, no, I'm enjoying it, and I didn't see, although I wanted to see what happens next, I wasn't like, oh, I wish episode 2 was here now.
Yes. Yeah.
And I was like that all of last season as well, and the same with Lower Decks, to be fair, which was another good show. But yeah,
I think as well, it's quite nice because then it means you do kind of get that, much like us doing these shows, you do get to have them sort of water cooler moments where you're able to have a proper discussion about an episode before the next episodes are dropped.
Yeah, and that time to process as well.
Yeah. Whereas I feel like some other shows, when you binge it, you watch it, you've enjoyed it, you talk about it for a couple of days, and then you've moved on. Yeah.
And there'll always be something that you've missed from not having that time.
Yeah. Episode 1, season 2. So we are, I think, judging from picking up some of the threads, I think this picks up about 18 months after season 1.
Yeah, I seem to remember a year and a half being mentioned. Should we do the synopsis thing?
Yeah, hit it.
Yeah, okay, so this is Picard season 2, episode 1, The Stargazer. 2 words, not 1. Starfleet must once again call on legendary Jean-Luc Picard after members of his former crew, Cristobal Rios, 7 of 9, Rafi Masika, and Dr. Agnes Jurati discover an anomaly in space. I can't say anomaly. Discover an anomaly in space that threatens the galaxy.
Again.
It's very Star Trek, isn't it? Oh, an anomaly.
Oh, here we go. Another one.
Yeah.
So straight out the gate, I want to say something that I didn't like is the wrong way to put it. Wish they hadn't have done would be a better way to put it. And some people, and actually, I've watched this twice now. And the second time around, I was like, "Oh no, I see what you did." And actually, it was a bit more clever than I gave it credit for. But I still kind of wish they hadn't done it. And that was the opening.
Okay, yeah.
because a lot of so before we get started, I should say this, we're going to be spoiling the heck out of episode 1. So
Red alert.
Yes.
Spoilers ahead.
Yeah, what the red shirt said. So like,
That's right. With TNG here, something's on command.
yeah, good. I see what you did there. So one of the things that a lot of shows do now is this whole, you start kind of midway through something happening, some big action sequence or some really emotional beat, and then it skips back. Anything from 24 to 48 hours, and then we've got and then we basically spend the episode getting to that point. And what I found with this one is, I know what they're trying to do, but for me, when we get to it at the end, I really wished I hadn't known that was coming.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. And for me, it felt not cheap's the wrong word, but it kind of felt like we know this is, it's the first episode of a new season. So traditionally, first episode, hit the ground running kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
And for me, it felt a little bit like, actually, this episode's a nice slow burn, sort of building up to the tension at the end. And it was almost like they just wanted to go, no, there is excitement coming, honest.
Yes. Yeah.
And yeah, like you, I could have done without that. I don't mind like a new season, especially when it's a year and a half later. We've got the reintroduction to people a little bit, and then you sort of get this building tension. And I personally don't need that kind of like, oh yeah, there's definitely excitement coming. But like you say, I can see why they do it.
Yeah, and also as well, I think it wasn't even because I think it was. They almost showed their hand too early, because you had, it kind of starts with like nameless
Vulcan dude.
Yeah, Starfleet personnel running through the ships being attacked, stuff like that. And don't get me wrong, it's some corking effects and it looks great, and obviously things are going to hell quickly. But then it goes right up to showing you Picard initiating the self-destruct.
Yeah,
and I think you could have still given people that effect of like, there's some bad stuff coming, without even showing Picard.
Yeah, if they'd have like cut it off, because there's that scene, like say you see them running, and then there's like the close up of the dude with like the blood on his face and stuff, and the shots going off, and then like there's like the metal tentacle thing comes in. You could have ended it there.
Yeah.
It's kind of one of those things of you almost didn't need like the 48 hours earlier bit either, because if you'd cut it there, it'd have been that kind of suspense of like, oh, has that happened? Is that what, or and then when you get to it, it's like, oh, I see. Okay, so that's what that was, sort of thing.
Yeah.
You almost didn't need it, kind of thing.
I like you said, I think they wanted to show people action was coming, but we're gonna, but there's going to be a lot of slow burn stuff getting to that point. Which I didn't mind, because like you said, a lot of it was kind of what I quite like in shows like this is I quite like seeing like movement of characters, and by that I mean like characters have been promoted, characters have got different jobs, Rios is now like captaining his own ship and stuff like that. I like that sort of stuff. I'm quite invested in that, so I don't mind that you're taking the time to build up to things. I really liked but I did like the fact that the minute the anomaly gets sort of noticed, it actually does pick up relatively quickly.
Yes.
And I was sort of thinking, because compared to, I think in the first season, I think it took a little while before he kind of properly got himself out there.
Yeah, there was action going along almost like, it was almost like not the B plot as it were, but it was the non-Picard plot. Where the action was happening, and it was kind of like him just kind of like, like you say, almost getting in that mindset to go back out almost.
In this season, he's like fully back in Starfleet. He's like running Starfleet Academy effectively. Which is great, and I like and in some ways you could call it like a cheap stunt type thing, but it makes sense when you get to the end of the episode, the fact that you've got this signal and the signal's asking for him, because it straight away answers the question that he asked when Starfleet come and knocking. It's kind of like, surely there's other people you could send out.
Yeah.
than me. And it's like, oh no, but they've asked for me specifically. Okay, right, I need to get going. And I thought there was going to be a bit more of a delay even from that point. But it was like next minute he's kind of, because obviously he got transporters, next minute he's on the ship, and I'm like, that's great.
Yeah, I mean, you arrived by shuttlecraft, didn't you? But yeah, it was, and I must admit, I did like, and again, like the episode title, I said it was the Stargazer, which few references, because it was like one, you had the flashbacks to Picard's kid when he was looking at the stars, but also his first command was the Stargazer, and then the ship that Rios is now in command of is a Stargazer.
Yeah,
so I quite like that, and I really like the design of the Stargazer ship. I'm like that with Star Trek though. It's like I'll see a ship and I'm like, I really like that design, but I don't know why I like it. I was just going to say, because there's something about like the original Enterprise design I do not like. Just don't, and I don't know why, because it is literally the template by which all the other ones sort of reference, But there's something about a lot of, especially like I've always liked the Reliant class, from Star Trek 2, from Wrath of Khan.
Oh, sorry, Reliant. Sorry,
the Reliant, with like the low slung nacelles and stuff.
Yeah,
and just almost just the saucer section without the primary hull sort of thing.
Yeah,
those sorts of designs really appeal to me, and the original Stargazer was Constellation class. It was very similar, and I liked that this one was in keeping with that kind of design as well.
So there was you do see that. I'm pretty sure you see that ship in the Next Generation.
Not that one. No, that was a new design.
Oh, that was a new design, but it was based on his original ship.
Oh, and it was very much very similar to the original Stargazer, which was a Constellation class.
Because there was an episode.
There was,
wasn't it? And he kind of, I think he was getting like not brainwashed, but he was getting tricked into sort of believing he was back on the Stargazer or something. And
was that a Ferengi one?
Possibly, possibly. Yeah, I think it was. And it ended up with him attacking the Enterprise, and he had this one. There was a maneuver that he did. I think it was just called the Picard maneuver. It was like unbeatable or something. So yeah, so it did. So the minute I saw the ship, I was like, it did look familiar. I didn't.
Yeah, it was nice that they kept that same aesthetic to it. With like you said, with the four nacelles and like the bridge in the middle. The saucer section in the middle and stuff. Yeah, I really like that. Isn't it bad though that I could tell you that the Stargazer's registry number is NCC 2893, but I couldn't tell you what happened in that episode that it appeared in?
Slightly.
That just shows the level of nerd I am, isn't it?
I'm going to call it the level of detail that you like. That's the nice way to say it. It was weird because I watched the episode twice and I enjoyed it, but on one hand, like a lot happened, but on another hand, not a lot happened.
Yeah. Yes. No, I completely agree. There was a lot going on, but nothing happened. Yeah, I know exactly what you mean. But again, I liked it because I kind of like that. I like to get a bit of meating and a bit of background. Necessarily before I do it. I don't need to sprint. It's one of the things that sometimes that annoys me about Doctor Who since 2005 is it's run.
Yeah.
It's like there's nothing wrong with having a walk and building up to it.
Yeah.
And it does give you more time with the scene where Picard goes to see Guinan.
Yeah.
Wasn't, as far as I know, we'll see if there's any callbacks to it, but it wasn't necessary. No, but it was just lovely. Yeah.
Yes, yeah, it was. And I think it was a really nice sort of payoff. If you watch the Next Gen and stuff, it was a really nice scene. But like you say, it didn't. There's this whole thing, writing. Every scene should propel you forward, and every scene there should be something, happening for the story. Otherwise, it's a superfluous scene. And you could make the argument there that if you lifted that, because there was no conclusion to that scene.
No.
He went to meet her, they had a discussion. He was kind of basically talking about, relationship stuff, but nothing really came of it. And I kind of felt like it would have been nice if we'd even got a little bit of a hint that it was going to be, there was some connection maybe with him as a kid. You know, I don't know. I kind of hope that we see her again, and I think given where this story may go, we might do. I don't know.
I can't see that they wouldn't do. To be honest, just because it feels like this, it felt like there should be a conclusion to it, not necessarily with the actual conversation they were having, but with like the, because you didn't even see, you know, it's like a lot of times it's like a throwaway cameo. It would end with great thanks, I'll see you next time or whatever, like, you know.
Yeah.
Whereas it didn't, did it? It almost like cut off before it finished before they said goodbyes, almost, like, you know.
Yeah.
They just like carried on with the drinks, didn't they? You know, and got on with it. So for me, it feels like it's not just a cameo, and there will be more instances, whether, you know, later on this season or next season or whatever, where, you know, Picard will be going to 10 Forward Street, you know, and seeing Guinan again, and I really like that. And I know, like you say, you know, it didn't necessarily drive the story forward particularly, but it did give some good background to Picard, and I think some stuff that is going to play into it a bit later.
Yeah,
because they do seem to be making a big thing of this whole kind of like, you know, I was too busy pursuing exploration to be involved or whatever kind of thing, which seems a bit odd, but you know,
you get a sense there was I think what this episode sets up was you get a sense there was an actual reason, not just because I was off.
Yeah, exactly.
About there's an actual reason why I don't do it.
Yeah.
And it's weird because the moments that I like them, I'm going to come back to the ball because I've got something to say about that. But I found that the moments I kind of enjoyed the most are the ones I thought I might enjoy the least, because sometimes when you are bringing back old characters and stuff like that, you feel a little bit like, oh, okay, I want to see you move forward, and
it feels, how you feels
use
forced
it
as well.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, you know, is it just going to be? I mean, I'm a massive Star Trek fan, but I don't want it to be. I don't want the fan service to be at the
forefront of it.
Yeah, I don't want basically I don't want the fan service to cost the story.
Yeah.
And so go on.
Sorry. I was just going to say, to be fair, I think from having seen like season 1, that's kind of how they've done it, because, you know, you had Riker and Deanna Troi in there, but they were there for reasons. They were used correctly. And so, you know, the same with Data as well. I mean, let's face it, that whole season was really around Data and the relationship with Picard and the Borg and stuff. So I was never like, when they said, you know, because I've not seen any trailers or anything for Picard or anything, because I just know I'm going to watch it, so I try not to watch trailers. But I knew Guinan was going to be back, but I wasn't worried about that in any way, because I'd seen how well they were reusing older characters.
Yeah, which kind of brings me on to like the biggest announcement, and the thing that I was like, didn't inwardly groan, but I was like, okay, let's see how you do this, and that was bringing back Q.
Yeah, see, this is where I'm glad I don't watch trailers or follow news and stuff very often, because I didn't know.
Didn't you?
No, it completely slipped me by. So when you hear his voice, I was like, I sat up a little bit.
Oh, I see. That's cracking.
Because I deliberately hadn't watched anything, or, you know, whenever I'd seen anything about Picard coming up in the Google hits things or stuff, I'd skim past without even glancing at it. So it was like proper. It was like proper old school when someone turned up again. Like, you know, well, I didn't know.
Well, the weird thing is that I knew he was going to be in it, and yet when I heard his voice, and the minute Picard wait, and clearly something's gone wrong with time.
Yeah.
And the minute he sort of wakes up and he's kind of like moving about and stuff, I'm literally waiting. I know not long's left, you know, there isn't much long left in the episode, so I know Q's coming. But the minute I heard his voice, I sat up.
Yeah.
Even though I knew I was expecting the voice, but even when I heard, it was like instantly. It didn't matter that X amount of time had passed. It was just the way he dropped the line. It was like, well, that's Q, isn't it? And I thought it was brilliant, and they did the same thing with Guinan as well in a different way. But I thought it was brilliant the way he turned up and he was young.
So that was John DeLancey's idea. But he thought it'd be off screen. Yeah, so he thought, because what he said was, wouldn't it be, you know, if Q just says, oh, you know, I see you've got older, I'll catch you up. And then they cut away, but he did, until they'd like actually filmed, until they'd actually told him when they were filming it, he thought they were just going to cut to him old.
Right.
But the actual seeing him young, because I'll be honest, I did not get that sense of uncanny valley that I got from. There was an uncanny valley about it. I did not get that at all. They de-aged him so well, and whether that was partly because it was actually him there, you know, underneath it all, not some other actor, or what, I don't know. But I actually sat there and thought, oh, he's still looking good, isn't he? and then they kind of like he comes back as himself, and you're like, okay, no, that's cool.
But also,
and to be fair, he still does.
Yeah, but also I think as well, because the shot wasn't there for very long.
Yeah.
It wasn't a massive close-up, and it was like, you know, he dropped the line and clicks his fingers, and then he's old. But when he flips to OQ looks so badass.
Yeah.
You completely forget about the young Q. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. He looked like Mirror Universe Q.
It just looked like two old like enemies facing off. You know. One last time when he just walks in and he just drops that line. What did I tell you last time? And I was like, I remember. You know what I mean? It's like the trial never ends.
Trials never ends.
Yeah. I remember him saying, "The trial never ends. I'll see you out there," or something like that. And you just think, yeah, we're back in it. And the weird thing is I've been online and seen some people, and I think people have gone one way or the other. I don't think it's been much of a middle ground. People have either hated it or people have loved him in it. Because people are like, oh no, retreading it, and basically what it's just going to be is the rest of the season is just going to be like one long Q episode, and at the end he's going to click his fingers and everything goes back to normal. But
I don't know, though, because you think of like, you think of Encounter at Farpoint, and you think of All Good Things, you know, and they weren't just click and reset. It's like the single episodes where he turned up, some of them were. But like the actual main, what I would call like the Q-centric stories, the proper Q stories.
Yeah.
They're not, you know, he's literally, it is almost like this is the consequences of this thing happening.
Yeah.
You know, and there isn't a rewind. It's like, you know, at the end of Encounter at Farpoint, and they go back, the consequences are the Borg are coming.
No, that wasn't Encounter at Farpoint.
Was that not Encounter? What was that?
No, Encounter at Farpoint was the very first episode.
It was, yeah. But again, that's another one though that was a proper Q episode, and there isn't just that clicking and oh look, everything's back to normal now.
Yeah, and that's the thing is quite simply we wouldn't have had. Can make an argument that sometimes the Borg have been a bit overused, but you know, you wouldn't have had one of Star Trek's most like compelling, interesting like villains without Q, because he was the one who like sent them to the Borg.
Yeah, he made that first contact happen.
Yeah, and then didn't fix it.
Yeah.
You know, and they've been dealing with, and you know, the Star Trek universe has been dealing with repercussions of that pretty much ever since.
Yeah.
And so I loved it. I'm choosing my words carefully because having watched the trailer, I've got concerns about where I think the story's going.
Right.
But I can't really say any more because I don't want to spoil it for you. However,
no, that's fair. Please don't.
No. However, I'm invested because of the way they dropped Q in. I'm like, okay, and it made me want to know more. So my little gripe was like, seriously, Starfleet, how long would it have taken you to realise that was the Borg?
I know, it's green. It's literally Borg green glow.
But not even that. It's the fact that like when there's like, oh yeah, we've got this subspace, blah blah blah. It's all these different voices all calling at one, asking for Picard. Yeah. Surely someone would have been in the room going, maybe that could be the Borg, you know?
Yeah.
What are you talking? Get out, Ensign.
Yeah.
So, you know, it seemed a bit obvious, or at least, or that at least you would entertain the possibility. And I'm sure, wasn't it in Star Trek First Contact that it was the Borg that actually had the ability to travel through time, and the Enterprise just followed them?
Yeah, because they went back to stop Federation, stop First Contact with the Vulcan.
Yeah. Yeah, so that
Yeah.
they went back in. They opened like a rift in time and went back in time. So I was kind of like, well, okay. So it's not. So again, it's that thing of when she sort of says, there's a unknown species that has the ability to bend time and space. Could be the Borg.
Open a rip in the space-time continuum.
Yeah, and also talks with loads of different voices as one. Who could that be?
Not ringing any bells, mate.
Not ringing any
bells.
So I had to just kind of suspend some disbelief. I do wonder that back of mind. I wonder if that is going to be tied in, because you had a Borg ship traveling through time, and it had a queen on the ship. So, do we think the queen's his mum? I hope not.
So yeah, I also hope not. There was that thing where she literally repeats that line, doesn't she?
Yeah, she repeats the line from his mum.
But then again, the Borg have been in his head.
Yes,
as we know. So is it just mind games?
Yeah, I'm hoping it's mind games, because don't do that. Don't do that.
But there is that whole thing of like that Borg Queen design was so different, and the whole face covered.
Yeah,
for you to not do something silly.
I know.
You know what I mean?
I know, but I really hope they don't do that.
I'm expecting better of them, but it wouldn't necessarily surprise me if that turned out to be the case.
I did wonder if it was I couldn't remember what happened to her, how she died. The two Romulan spies, and one you had the brother and sister.
Yeah.
First, I can't remember what happened. I know she died, but I can't remember how she died. Was it we actually saw her die, or did she fall?
I genuinely can't remember.
Yeah, I did wonder when she first came. I did wonder if it was her.
Yes, this is why I wanted to rewatch season 1, because it's so long ago, and I've forgotten a lot of it.
Yeah,
I still might actually. I might put it on this week at some point.
Yeah, as I said, I just hope they don't do that, and it's a whole kind of like, that's why the Borg chose you right at the beginning, and you just don't pull on that thread.
Yeah. I'm your brother, Mr. Bond.
Yeah, don't pull on the thread, please don't.
Yeah,
and I don't think it. I almost don't think it will, because of the fact that it was almost too signposted.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
In the first episode, with the scene with his mum, it was almost too signposted. So I don't know.
Yeah, I kind of feel like they're cleverer than that.
Yeah.
I mean, I might be wrong. Might be eating my words.
Hope not.
But it did. Yeah, there were those moments where I thought, okay, maybe, but
yeah, I did like I like seeing like Rios in command of his own ship with a cigar. But I mean, this is just a little gripe of mine in shows, and I see this in other shows as well, where you want a character to have like a cigarette, but because obviously those things aren't in fashion anymore, you can't show people actually smoking them.
Yeah, so he's just basically chewing the cigar.
And what ends up is it just looks ridiculous. So either let the man smoke the cigar, or don't let him have it. It's just that simple. Because to begin with, I was like, it looks cool. Look at he's got his swag and his cigar. And then after a while, I was like, is he actually smoking that? He's not, is he?
Well, to be fair though, on a bloody Federation ship, the smoke alarms would be going off if he was.
Yeah.
You can guarantee there are no smoking ships.
I know, but it kind of reminds me a little bit like what they used to do with Constantine in the Arrow shows, in his own shows, sorry, where every so often he'd go to like cigarette, and for whatever reason he just wouldn't light it. He'd just be walking around with it in his mouth.
Yeah,
it just looks silly. It just looks silly.
Yeah.
Anywho, any closing thoughts?
So before we do close out, I just read something about this, because I did a little bit of like reading afterwards, as you do. And one of the things that really jumped out at me was, so apparently in the finale last season there was a bit of backlash at them, because the big fleet turns up at the end, and there's basically like 4 different starship classes there.
Right.
So everything looked the same. So there's a bit of backlash from that. And what they did for this episode, obviously there was like the 47 fleet ship Armada turns up, loads of different starships, but a lot of those designs were from the Star Trek Online game.
Oh, nice.
Because they got in touch with the game company because they didn't have the models, obviously, and they actually got the models from the games to put them in it. So there was a couple from later Next Generation and stuff. But yeah, a lot of the designs and the ships came from that. So a lot of those designs that they'd done for the game that were never really canon because they were just like, oh yeah, here's a cool looking ship, you can have it, sort of thing. Know. Although I must say, always true to the sensibilities of Star Trek, but yeah, they're now canon designs because they've been in the show.
Cool. I mean, one of the things I wanted to say actually was because there were parts of which really reminded me of like Next Gen. So I really liked the bit after the Borg kind of made contact and stuff, and they're effectively in Rios's kind of ready room or boardroom or whatever you want to call it, and they're discussing the merits of whether or not to destroy, to shoot first. Yeah. And it just kind of felt like, maybe that's the whole thing. The whole thing kind of felt like a classic Next Gen episode. Do you know what I mean? Where you have those kind of moral quandaries and stuff. And actually, Seven makes some really good points. And she's got a good point, and she kind of says, if we get it wrong, we've destroyed a Borg ship, i.e., what's the big deal? Yeah. And if we don't do it and I'm right, then we effectively signed a death warrant for the whole kind of Federation. It's like, yeah. But the one thing that struck me with that scene is it was great that they're all in there bantering and blah, 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 but where's his command staff?
Yeah, that's a good point, actually. he's literally taking his mates in.
He's just taking his mates in a room. There's no head of security, no science officer. I mean, even when the doctor beamed on the ship and she kind of sat down in the seat next to him, I was kind of like, so has he not got a first officer then?
Yeah. Yeah, and then you can see like the rest of the crew were clearly not particularly happy with that because it's like when she goes to the console and like the Bajoran officers like looking at Rios like they're like, you can do something about this shit. And that didn't even twig, mate. That did not even twig in my head.
Straight away when they're in that room, I was kind of like, so where's everyone else? And there are parts of it like that where it almost feels a little bit like you've kind of forgotten your own rule system within Star Trek. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? And it's kind of it's cool, don't get me wrong, but in every Next Gen episode, do you know what I mean, you would have, even if you've got extra characters, you would have the extra characters, but you would also have the command staff would be there because it's a decision that's going to affect the entire ship. Do you know what I mean? And to me, it would have been a great scene, would be made better if you had other characters there, because then you could have a bit more back and forth. You could have had stuff like, what happened to all this kind of stuff with the Borg, where they used to have different shield modulate. They used to modulate the shields and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And the different phases and stuff. And there was no mention of any kind of extra things that they could try or anything like that. It was just like the minute she turned up, everyone just started shooting at her, and it's like, but fairly confident that wasn't going to work because it's the Borg.
Yeah, met before, right?
That's they assimilate there. So that's what's going to happen. So I was hoping that there might be something like when they realise it's the Borg, that it's almost like, right, break out the anti-Borg weapons. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Also, I've got to say, fitting your ship up with Borg tech, that's got to be up there with stupid ideas, man.
Well, I can kind of see why though, but yeah, you're not wrong.
Especially when she said the Borg have been, we've effectively hobbled the Borg, right? So they're not dead.
Yeah.
So in my mind, the only time you start using their kit is when they're dead. When they're gone, they're completely wiped out, and that's it. Not when there's a couple of them running about. Do you know what I mean? It just makes it. It's like picking up a laptop, and it's the latest laptop. It's the most advanced laptop in the world, but it's had some like really horrible virus nearly destroyed the world. And then someone says to you, "Whoa, there's still only 5% of the virus left in it, but it's mostly gone." You're not going to use it, are you? Do you know what I mean? No, you're going to hand it back to the guy and go, "No, clear the rest of that shit out, and then I'll use it."
But speaking of stupid ideas, though, right? Does no Starfleet captain ever reset the default password on the self-destruct?
Someone made a really good point about that in one of the reviews, and I was inclined to agree with it at the time as well. In that every other time you've seen them use a self-destruct in Star Trek, I don't want to say every other time because now someone's going to go, oh, but what about that time?
Yeah.
But in most of the times that I've seen, there's always been at least 2 or 3 other people that have had to put a command in as well. It's not been just one person.
But it was just one person.
No. As in, it's done as it's a security feature. There's 3 of them. It's science officer, who was the acting science officer, and chief engineer, and then the captain gave the last code.
Yeah. But your code is your code. Do you know what I mean?
But you needed 3 codes to unlock. You needed the first 2 codes to unlock the final code.
Yeah.
You get what I mean?
I get that.
Right.
But what I'm saying is, you have 3 keys, right? Let's say now.
No. What I'm saying is, he shouldn't have been. Even though the code is the same, 00, whatever it was, Picard, destruct, whatever, it shouldn't have worked. Is what people are saying.
Yes. Yeah. No. Yeah. I agree with that. However, I changed your password.
Yeah. Also, I did get the kind of, it's the most advanced shipping, 00 destruct 0. But at least you're not going to forget it.
Well, there is that.
Which is why I think the whole kind of command crew system makes more sense, because then you're not going to accidentally set it off, are you?
Yeah, you're not going to drunkenly one night.
Yeah.
Just out there, destruct 00, Picard 00.
Yeah. And I've always felt and that's why that bit of it felt a bit rushed to me. I've always felt there's always something cooler when it's done calmly and there has to be a couple of you.
Yeah. I mean that scene in Wrath of Khan is is up there.
It's not Wrath of Khan. Sorry, my mistake. It's Search for Spock.
Is it Search for Spock? That
it's Search for Spock. Yeah.
I mean, they're basically one film anyway. So
yeah. But they do it in Next Gen. Him and Riker.
Yeah, they do. Yeah.
Do it, and it's wicked. And it just felt like a bit rushed. It was kind of let's just do self-destruct because you've got no time, which I get. But you kind of threw away your own rules just so that you could kind of get to the self-destruct bit of it. And there's someone else that surely that's the first thing the Borg would have taken out when you took over the ship, would have been the self-destruct.
Yeah, absolutely. You don't start with the vending machines.
Work your way up to the self-destruct. But yeah, as I said, it's just it's just minor, it's gripes, and observations more than anything. It's not like it didn't stop my enjoyment of it, but they were just observations that kind of, I do think the ready room / boardroom scene is a biggie for me. I feel that was the one I was kind of like, where is everyone? Yeah,
I'm kind of annoyed you pointed that out because I didn't pick up on it, and it is normally the kind of thing I absolutely would, and now it's just going to bug the hell out of me. So I'm not sleeping tonight. Thanks for that.
Yeah, sorry, mate. It made it feel. I guess what I'm saying is, but with that scene, it made it feel less like a working starship.
Yeah, and that's, to be fair, one thing Star Trek's always had going, even back in back in the in the 60s and stuff, is that it's been pretty consistent with those sorts of things.
Yeah.
And its own rules and its own hierarchies and stuff. Obviously, there's been tweaks over the years and stuff, but it's generally been internally consistent, which is what you want for a living universe, And it is, there is that element of, just doing things because you want to for your story. It's like, that's great, but in this kind of like, I mean, how long now? 50, 60 years of life that has been consistent throughout, you're kind of almost like throwing away that good work that's come before in a way.
Yeah.
It's a little bit extreme, but you know what I mean? It's
yeah. Right then, we've gone on for a little bit longer than I thought we had, but it's the first episode.
It's first episode, and there was some
stuff to say,
some good stuff to say.
Yeah.
And to be fair, I mean, I'm massively looking forward to the next episode. as I say, I'm quite glad it's going to be a few days before it comes out, because that'll give me more time to just process a bit and maybe to go back to season 1 somewhat as well. But yeah, no, absolutely. I thought it was a cracking opening. Yeah, obviously had its little faults and flaws and niggles and stuff, but what doesn't?
Exactly.
Yeah, massively enjoyed it. Really looking forward to the next one.
Likewise.
Cool. Do you want to round us out?
Yeah, so as always, if you've enjoyed the conversation, let us know. If you've got any questions or comments of your own about the episode, did you enjoy it? What did you like? What didn't you like? What did you hate? What didn't you hate? I've just said exactly the same thing, but hey, I'm just going to roll with it. But if you want to do that, you can get in contact with us at thegeeksyndicate.co.uk. You can find us on Twitter at Geek Syndicate. You can find us on Facebook and on Instagram. And I just want to say a big shout out and a big thank you to people who have donated to us, whether that's buying us a coffee via Ko-fi or are a patron or just donated to the show. We really do appreciate it. And all monies get pumped back in to the shows. Excellent stuff.
Well, on that note then, we'll see you next time on I don't know star dates. I'm not going to do star date.
No.
So we'll see you next time on
Never understood those.
On the review show. Yeah, I'm pretty sure there's an episode in that. but there we go.
But we're not doing it.
We're not doing it. It's not for us. Cool. Right. Yeah. We'll talk to you next time.
Yeah. Live long and prosper.
I was just going to say that.
Yeah.
I was trying to think something Star Trekky, and it came in my head, and you said it. So.
I know. I had that queued up for about 30 minutes, mate.
Oh, queued up.
Yeah. Oh.
Oh.
Wah, wah. Let's just get it.
Let's get it. Let's let people assimilate these puns and move on.
Bye all.
Bye.